What is our fourth main topic today?
Okay, Uziel Almanza says, I've been watching you since I was 15 years old. Now I'm 25. Wow. Perhaps the only show that I love more than the John Capea show is Netflix's Daredevil. I saw an article on Cinemablend where Kevin Feige confirmed that Charlie Cox is the person who will play Daredevil in the MCU if they ever decide to do something with the character. What are your thoughts? Personally, I think this is great news. And this kind of confirms that cameo on Hawkeye was indeed Vincent D playing Kingpin, right? Thanks.
All right. All right. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys know for the longest time, like Kevin Feige, the phrase I like to use is Kevin Feige does not like to play with sloppy seconds. He likes to do his own thing. He ain't going to do Inhumans, at least not the way they were done before. And so for the longest time, I really felt fairly strongly that we're not going to see Charlie Cox as Daredevil or Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Now, then, you guys will remember, maybe about 2 months ago, I started to soften on that. And I was like, well, you know what they could do? They could have Charlie Cox, although even to me, this would be a bit of a stretch. They could have Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, whatever, in them playing those characters, but they're not the same characters as they were in the Netflix series. As a matter of fact, last night, before this news broke, I recorded a companion video. For those of you who don't know, there's a companion video up from yesterday. Before this news broke, where somebody was asking about Vincent D'Onofrio, and I said, you know, I do kind of feel now, like I have for a little while, that they could be in it. They could use those actors for the roles, but they're not. It's not the Kingpin that was in the Daredevil series. It's a new version of Kingpin. It's not the same history. That Charlie Cox could play Matt Murdock, but it's not the exact same Matt Murdock as was in the Daredevil series. Because I don't think Kevin Feige wants to officially canonize that stuff, right? So anyway, with all that in mind, somebody finally just straight up asked Kevin Feige, about Daredevil. I believe it was an interview. I think it was an interview with IGN. I could be mistaken about that. But they asked him straight up about Charlie Cox. And for the first time ever, Kevin Feige has acknowledged that Charlie Cox, if they ever use Daredevil, will be played by Charlie Cox. This is what Kevin Feige said. If you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor playing Daredevil. Where we see that, how we see that, when we see that, remains to be seen. Where we see that, how we see that, when we see that, remains to be seen. Now, look, I just want to point out something here, that there are a bunch of people, I even saw in our own chat this morning, before the show started, a lot of people saying, Kevin Feige has confirmed that Charlie Cox is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home playing Daredevil. No, he didn't. He did not. To be specific, this is exactly, again, let's go back and look at it again. This is specifically what Kevin Feige said. He says, if you are to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor to play Daredevil. Where we see that, how we see that, when we see that, remains to be seen. So let's be very, very clear here for a minute before we get into the excited stuff. For accuracy's sake, Kevin Feige did not just say that Charlie Cox is in Spider-Man No Way Home. He also did not officially say that Daredevil is coming into the MCU. He didn't say that. He said, if we ever see Daredevil, then yeah, it'll be Charlie Cox playing him. Okay? Again, just to be accurate, just to be specific, all Kevin Feige said is if we ever have Daredevil, and we're not saying we are, but if we ever do, Charlie Cox will be playing him. Okay? That is what Kevin Feige said. Why on earth, though, would Kevin Feige specifically point out a specific casting for a role if he had no plans to use that? Like, yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to have Bishop. And that Bishop, for those of you who don't know, is one of my favorite X-Men characters. But I don't know if we're ever going to have Bishop. I don't know. But if we do, it's going to be Chiwetel Ejiofor playing him. What? Why would Kevin Feige already have a very specific person and name in mind and call out who the casting is if he did not already at least have plans for doing something with that. Whether it's in She-Hulk, or whether it's in Spider-Man No Way Home, or whether it's in Moon Knight, or whether it's in anything, right? Why on earth would Kevin Feige say, oh yeah, we've cast the guy who's going to play this role? Oh, well, we don't know if we're ever actually going to have this character. Obviously he is. Obviously he is. And obviously for a very, very long time, there were a lot of reports going around that Charlie Cox was going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. And that's been, reported by a bunch of different outlets for a very, very long time. Now Kevin Feige's coming saying, yep, Charlie Cox is going to be our Daredevil. So this raises some very big and interesting questions. The first one, let's start with what he was saying in that. Does this confirm that the uncle in Hawkeye is indeed Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin? No, it doesn't confirm it, but holy shit, it implies it.
Sure does.
It implies it. And there was a new TV spot for Hawkeye, for the upcoming episode of Hawkeye, in which it said, we haven't even revealed our biggest surprises, or something along that lines. Big surprises, Ray.
Big surprises.
The surprises are huge coming to Hawkeye. Hey guys, we want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is the folks over at Raycon. There it is, into focus there, Raycon. Want to talk about these things for a second. Raycon are these terrific earbuds. I get on my treadmill in my guest bedroom. That's where I have my treadmill, don't mock me. In my guest bedroom every morning, pop these things in. They're great. They're comfortable. They sound great. They have 8 hours of straight playtime battery life, 32 hours of battery life in them. And here's one of the coolest things about them. I've had the other big name ones before. I have owned them. I have had them. And these things cost half the price. Roughly half the price of those things. They're great, and I want to thank Raycon for being a part of this. Now, here's the really exceptional news right now, okay? Here's the thing. If you guys, right now, you know that the holiday season is upon us as we speak, coming up faster than you think. So now's the time to knock maybe one or two of the gift list things on your list. You got to get out of there and pick up a pair of Raycons. Now, for my viewers and listeners right now, you will get 15% off any of the Raycon products right now if you go to buyraycon.com/Campea. That's buyraycon.com/Campea. You'll see a link in the top of the description below of this video. Go down there and click on that link, and you will get 15% off your entire Raycon order. Once again, that's at buyraycon.com. And once again, we thank Raycon for sponsoring this video. All right, let's get back to it. Right? So look, we're all speculating right now. Let's be really clear here. We're speculating. But the speculation right now is, it ain't no coincidence that before tomorrow night, for us in Los Angeles is tomorrow night. For many of you guys, it'll be the next day's morning. But at midnight tomorrow night, Los Angeles time, that a new episode drops. I don't think it's coincidence that Kevin Feige has come out now and said, oh yeah, Charlie Cox is going to be our Daredevil. I'm thinking we're going to see Kingpin. Again, I have nothing official on this. This is just me, wild speculation as a fan. I think we're going to see Kingpin tomorrow night. And I think that's why Kevin Feige, again, I don't know that. I'm not putting money on that. Okay. I'm not putting ketchup on that.
Already thinking about a bet. Wheels were spinning.
I am putting nothing on this. I am just saying that if I as an individual fan sitting here in my garage, my converted garage, I think we're going to see Vincent D'Onofrio tomorrow. Now again, listen, it's still very possible. I still believe it's possible that the uncle in this is not Kingpin and is not Vincent D'Onofrio, and it could be Kate Bishop's dad, who we never saw die in the show. So, I mean, I still think that's a possibility. It is. But if you'd ask me which I'm leaning, I'm leaning towards, I think it's Kingpin being played by Vincent D'Onofrio. I think we're going to see that there. So that's the first thing this answers. The second thing it answers is, okay, clearly he's bringing him in as Daredevil. The most single important question is it the exact same Daredevil, an iteration of Daredevil that was in the Netflix series? I don't think it will be. But again, we haven't heard anything official on that. Like, I think we could have him playing a new version of Matt Murdock, and Iron Fist shows up at some point, but it's not the same guy. It's not the same Iron Fist that we saw in that terrible Netflix Iron Fist series. That we could have Luke Cage, but it's not Mike. I forget the name of the actor.
I forgot it too.
Ray forgets it too. Can you look it up for me, Ray?
Yeah.
It was Mike something who played, I really like him too, by the way, but who played it could be a totally different guy coming in to play Luke Cage.
Coulter.
Mike Coulter, thank you.
Thanks, chat.
By the way, Mike Coulter is one of those guys who it is just stupid unfair in the universe that one human being has that much good looks wrapped up in him when the rest of us are begging for scraps. That is a handsome man. Mike Coulter
Super handsome.
is a ridiculously handsome man.
And that voice, my gosh.
Yes.
He was in Halo 5 too.
Is he a voice
He was
in Halo 5?
no, he was the main
was that
character.
him?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
With Nathan Fillion.
I had no idea that was him. So anyway, the number one question would be, is it the same Daredevil from the Netflix universe? I don't think it will be. Just guessing, they might end up being, but I don't think it will be. I think it'll be a new backstory, a new thing altogether. Same goes with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Then the second most important question becomes, when does he show up?
Yeah.
I mean, look, there have been reports for over a year, reports that I didn't believe for a long time, but there were reports for over a year that Charlie Cox is on set of Spider-Man No Way Home and all this kind of stuff before we even knew the title of the movie, of the new Spider-Man movie and blah, blah, blah. Again, I still don't know for sure, even with the picture that I received, I'm still not 100% convinced that picture was real. But just with the fact of what Kevin Feige has said, combined with the reports that have been out for well over a year, I mean, if I had to bet $1 on this, I would put that dollar on him showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home, which would absolutely constitute a ridiculously massive proportion surprise, like for a lot of people. So I'm going to go there. So question one, is it the same Daredevil from the Netflix series? I don't think so, but it could be. We'll see. Number two, where does he show up? I don't think they're waiting for She-Hulk. Even though I think a lot of people have thought for a long time that he would probably show up in She-Hulk, but I think it's going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. Don't know for sure. I don't know that, but that's where I'm guessing. Kim, what do you think of what do you think about Feige's comments, and what do you think Feige's comments mean ultimately? What's your take on it?
I think one, it definitely tells us how much he appreciates the fans and how much they love Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. And I think if anything we know about Kevin Feige is that he really cares about the fans. He really cares about the Marvel fans and what we want to see, and that he is faithful to deliver. Secondly, I think you're right. I'm on your wavelength that it'll be a different story with him. But also I think, we talked about this a little with J. Jonah Jameson and how if you think of it, sorry, that character, J.K. Simmons. I'm getting the name.
J. Jonah.
There's so much happening.
Yes.
J.K. Simmons, and the Batgirl situation, and how they're going to have like kind of the same characters, but in different universes. And I just feel like it can get a little confusing if you just start having new stories that aren't that far off from the original. Like Daredevil, it went off of Netflix, 2 years ago?
It was that long ago?
About 2
you
years
might
ago,
be, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday.
It's like kind of too soon to just recast and make people fall in love with him all over again. So I think it's a good idea to keep him. I look forward to seeing him again. I think he'll show up in Spider-Man No Way Home, but I think if he doesn't show up, he'll definitely be in She-Hulk, my thinking.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of people, because of stories that we've had before, a lot of people, I'm noticing in the live chat, think he's going to show up in the Echo series as well. Don't forget, Echo's got her own series coming as a spinoff from Hawkeye, so that's there too. I got to ask, I am dying to know what Ray thinks about this. Ray, Charlie Cox's Daredevil popping up. Does this excite you? Do you not really care? What are you thinking about it?
Man, when I say this is going to be my last show. I never finished the Daredevil series on Netflix.
Damn it, Ray.
You didn't finish Breaking Bad either.
I know. I mean, it's just, maybe it's because I didn't have a subscription. I don't know. But you know what? I don't think the movie needs him. If there's a purpose for him, then fine. But,
That is the ultimate bottom line. If there's what I've said for a while now is, My one concern about Spider-Man No Way Home is that it just becomes a giant cameo circle jerk. Where it's just like, oh, now this person's here, wee, and now this person's here, wee, and there's this person here, wee. And they put more stuff to just empty calorie fan service pop-up cameos and forget about the nutrition of real story and narrative. Does this person popping up serve a narrative function that enhances the story of the movie? And because if you just start throwing in people for the sake of throwing them in, that might get you a brief pop, but long term, when you watch the movie again, it's like, yeah, that was kind of pointless. It actually detracted from the movie. It didn't help the movie. My one worry, and I'm not saying I believe they can't handle it. I think John Watts is going to do a great job. I think Kevin Feige is going to make sure it all goes well. But if you were to ask me, if you were to have a concern, John, about Spider-Man No Way Home, what would your concern be? Honestly, my concern is that they get too enamored with the idea of what would create the biggest pop in the audience for the moment, but at the sacrifice of making a good movie. That's what I worry about. Like that's why, like, look, when you look at Spider-Man No Way, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, why I say it's a better movie than Infinity War is because it's a better movie than Infinity War. Yeah, it didn't have all the big stars and all the big heroes and all the big fan service pops and, you know, Thor showing up on the battlefield in Wakanda in a bolt of lightning, which is honestly one of the greatest scenes. I love that scene. But it does everything that a good movie does a little bit better, in my opinion. It has better character. It has better heart. It just, and I love Infinity War. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Don't get me, I'm not trashing on Infinity War. I love that movie. But that's what I hope they are to keep the focus on. With all the talk of Charlie Cox and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Goblin and Doc Ock and Sandman and Electro and whoever
it's like
else.
A parade of surprises.
And the parade of big surprises. Like,
big surprises.
Going all over the place. I just hope that they don't lose their focus.
Yeah.
Primarily being everything that we put in this movie has to serve the movie.
I want it to have substance.
Substance.
I really want it to have substance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nutrition over empty calories.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I worry about a little bit. But I mean, with these,
it's hard to do that when it comes to, like, if let's say it's all saved for the, like, ending of the movie.
Right.
It's hard to make it everyone has, like, that purpose or serve their purpose. I don't know. So hopefully they do it right. I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But again, Kevin Feige has just said, if we ever use Daredevil, I don't know if we'll ever use him. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. If it ever is, though, it's going to be Charlie Cox. I've already cast him, even though I don't know if he's going to be in the movies or not. It's a ridiculous statement. But anyway, guys, what do you think about that? How do you think they're going to use him? If they use him, do you think it's going to be the exact same Daredevil, the exact same Matt Murdock from the Daredevil series, and this is just carrying on that guy's story? Or do you think, like me, that it'll be a new iteration of the character just being played by the same actor to make the fans happy? Do you think he's going to first pop up in No Way Home? Do you think he's going to pop up in Echo? Do you think he's going to pop up in She-Hulk? Whatever you guys are feeling about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.